Digital Romance TV.
Hey folks, how are you? It's Michael Fiore and Nora from digitalromance.tv, and today we got 6 tips on how to survive your divorce or get through your divorce.
And they don't include drinking.
They don't include drinking, actually. Horribly drinking,
really,
smoking
really
a lot of weed, doing heroin. None of that stuff's actually going to help you get through your divorce.
Heroin's not going to help you do anything.
It's not. Well, yeah, you'll lay there. You'll have an endorphin haze. That'll be cool. You know, it'll be great. Anyway, divorce sucks. Divorce sucks for everyone. They say it is one of the top 3 most intensely unpleasant and stressful experiences of anyone's life. People that have gone through it multiple times say it doesn't get easier either. It's that every single time you go through it, it's absolutely horrible. The number 1 tip, though, is confide in your friends. You know, make sure you have a support structure. Make sure you have people out there who will listen to you bitch, because you're going to bitch. You're going to be viciously angry.
For a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And then,
and then they'll tell you to stop. Yeah.
Get some therapy.
And then get some therapy. Yeah.
Because there's only so much you want to put your friends through on that.
True. And
especially if they were also your ex's friends as well.
Yes. And when you go through therapy, a qualified, good therapist will help you get a healthy look on what actually happened in your marriage and why it went the way it did. I mean, you know, no good marriage ends, right? As Louis C.K.
No good marriage ever ends in divorce.
No good marriage ever. They'd certainly end because there's death out there in the world.
Yes.
But at the moment the marriage ends, it's usually not a good one at that given point. And you know, responsibility, not blame, but responsibility for these things ending goes to both partners every single time, to different varying degrees, depending on how awful one person actually was. But a therapist will help you they'll listen to you. They'll let you say whatever you need to say. They will find ways to gently or not so gently correct the way you're thinking on things so you can actually move on from this in a healthy way and hopefully get to a better place in your relationship, in a future relationship. Number 3 is to cut off contact with your ex for a while. You know, depending if you have kids or business prospects or property things you have to deal with, you know, you may have to have some kind of contact, but you can keep that contact as surface level as humanly possible.
And don't make it social. Try not to be at the same events. Figure out, block them on Facebook. Like actually, you know, get rid of their actual existence on Facebook, because Facebook does that for you by putting them into the block zone. Where you never see them.
And don't try to be friends, especially at the beginning. I mean, just don't. You're going to need time to recontextualize who that person is in your mind and in your heart. You're going to have, when you see them, you're going to have these visceral reactions that you had when they were your spouse that are still going to be there. There's going to be this longing. They say that a breakup, I've done a lot of research on this, really is like going cold turkey from an addiction in a lot of ways, because the chemicals that you would get, the happy chemicals, the dopamine and serotonin you would get from that person are no longer there. Number 4 is don't dive into another serious relationship right away. You know, a lot of people, they go through divorce, they end up wanting to date around, and then oftentimes they'll say, okay, well, I'm not looking for anything serious, and then of course they end up in something serious. It seems to be that men fall into the serious thing more quickly, and Nora particularly said that, you know, it seems they're trying to replace what they had before. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's the male need for the routine, the safety of what a relationship gives to them, which is, to a certain extent, there's something they know is the expectations of every day are exactly the same, and it's safe, and finding somebody who can just, you know, fall right into that, especially men who just tend to fall right into serious relationships quickly and go from monogamy to monogamy to monogamy. It's that's what they're expecting, and that's where they go to. So, I mean, what you're doing is you're not mourning the previous relationship. You're not actually moving on. You're not making any changes to yourself by doing that. You're just falling into the same patterns, just with a different person.
You're also just not reclaiming who you are. Right. So often when people get to the point of divorce, they become very codependent in one way or another with their ex. There's been just this pattern of like what love is even been redefined, because when you're in a negative relationship where there's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of fighting, your mind actually starts to believe that's what love is. That's what a relationship is supposed to be like. And if you don't give yourself time to heal from that and recontextualize that after the relationship, you'll end up bringing those same patterns into the next thing you get into. Number 5 is, you know, you have to work on this thought pattern that a lot of people fall into around divorce, which is I'm getting divorced, therefore I'm a failure. Right? I failed. Because again, so many people, they get into their marriages and they think, hey, you know, I know 60% of marriages end in divorce, but we're not going to do that. We're so strong. We're so in love. We're so everything. And it's so easy to, when that falls apart, to see yourself as a failure. Many people even stay in their marriages much longer than they should because they feel like, I don't want to be one of those divorced people, right? I also think there's something to the idea of not contextualizing yourself as a divorced person. We were just talking off camera about that whole, like, when you're on Facebook, you can pick your relationship status, and one of them is divorced. And I'm like, has anyone in their life ever wanted to have their relationship status say divorced?
No, all you do is you remove your relationship status completely for a while, and then you just slowly work in the single, like single after again. A while.
Why would you want that as your main thing? Oh, I'm divorced. That's that's how I define myself as a human being. The relationship does not have to define who you are anymore, right? It was a big part of the definition of who you were when you were together, but you're not anymore. It's okay. And number 6 is to I can't read my handwriting. Rediscover the passions you used to have before they got drained away by that relationship. Which doesn't always happen.
By that succubus.
No, not by the
drained your whole being away from you.
It's not always that person. It's as much as it is just the dynamic of the relationship and that feeling that you have to be doing everything together, right? And that feeling that like whatever you're doing, okay, we have to, I always say it's like, one person wants to go play baseball, the other person wants to, I don't know, play shuffleboard, and they end up watching America's Top Model, which neither of them actually like at that point, right? So it's like that compromising to the bottom, and you end up giving up a lot, especially if you have kids and a family and things like that. Being alone, which can be scary, is also a huge opportunity to rediscover what you loved doing by yourself before.
Absolutely.
And becoming okay with being alone, right? And becoming more independent again. So there you go. Divorce sucks. So if you're watching this and you are getting a divorce, believe me, we know.
But you're in a much better place now.
Yep. And I hope this helped. If you have anything you want to say about how you got through your divorce, put it down below in the comment section, and then go to digitalromance.tv for more videos. Bye.
If you've got a cell phone in your pocket or purse right now, then you've got everything you need to create incredible romance and passion with the man or woman in your life at the push of a button. Go to digitalromance.tv/TRB to see Michael Fiore make an entire audience of women in the Rachel Ray Show swoon and learn how to use tiny little text messages to have the relationship of your dreams.